Hey everyone, this is an open door. You can call me Cindy. It's crazy, believe it or not, we're heading towards the end of September. It's September 22nd, 2025. And this is the hour we have entitled Where the Rubber Meets the Road, where we take an idea from A Course in Miracles and discuss how it relates to our everyday existence. I was like, oh, Robert Redford just joined us. um, I opened the book at random this week and started to read, and I kind of started to cry because, like, do you need anything other than these few pages to to be able to embody the truth of who you are? Can almost say that pretty much on every page of A Course in Miracles, but these sort of uh, put me in that kind of state, a deepening into the willingness to stand still. All right, so I wrote some lines from this section. I'm gonna read them. I got a song, gonna play the song. I may or may not say a few more words, then hand things to Andrew, and then open it up for conversation. All right. This section is entitled The Need to Defend. And here are the words that I wrote to read out loud. How does one overcome illusions? Surely not by force or anger, nor by opposing them in any way, but merely by letting reason tell you that they contradict reality. They go against what must be true. God holds your hands, and what can separate whom he has joined is one with him. And just that's the line from this section. But for me, it's just like, oh, I am an extension of that which created me. So how could I ever be anything other than that? Right? It remains impossible to keep love out. Love rests in certainty. How weak is fear? How little and how meaningless! Exclamation mark. And then there's this visual, which I, especially after yesterday, for whoever was there yesterday, I won't go into details, but I don't remember this visual being in the course before yesterday, because now I've got, August gave us this interesting visual for those who were there. And now the course is telling me that fear can be equated to a frightened mouse who would attack a universe. Every illusion rests on the belief that you are separate. The solution is simple: forgiveness. And for the purpose of where I'm sitting right now, forgiveness is the simple act of letting go of false perception. If you look up the definition of forgiveness in the back of the purple book, it begins with letting go of false perception. And then there are a lot of other words after that. But, for the purpose of where I'm sitting right now, I'm just hanging out in letting go of false perception. What is false perception? Anything that would feed the belief in separation, or that I have somehow left my source, and not me, and not here, and not now. So now a few minutes with the song that came to me to play, and then we'll see what happens next. Oh, if I haven't mentioned it, I love that you're here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Here we go.
I don't know. Apparently, I'm lost. I got on the wrong thing here. I was showing chapter 22, section 6. It's what reason tells you. How did I?
Are you in the purple book?
I'm in the purple book.
I don't know. My chapter
Oh, yeah, I'm in
22,
the purple
section
book.
6 is called The Need to Defend. Page 697.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Don't
I
be
got
sorry.
chapter 21 instead of 22.
We
Sorry.
all, everyone here knows that Cindy makes mistakes too, so I wasn't assuming anything, but
This
let's,
one's on me.
Never any mistake, Chuck. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe he could add to what Cindy chose.
Well, I'm gonna go back and read that after this because I probably did that for a reason.
yeah, all right, let's,
Sorry about the interruption.
there is no such thing, sir. It's all perfect. Here's just a little bit of music.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb.
There are oceans and rivers
Enough to cross, enough to last.
enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow.
There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine.
Oh, listen, Lord,
If you wanna know,
if you wanna know.
what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
No, not just for some.
But for everyone. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs is love, sweet love. What the world needs now, what we need is love, sweet love, sweet love. What the world needs now. Clap your hands of love. Sweet love. What the world needs
All right, so here's the last thing I'm gonna say before, for now. There's always something else Cindy's gonna say. I was sitting a little bit more with Shri M, who we're gonna talk about mostly on Thursday. But there's something that's very appropriate to this lesson. He said, We've heard this once or twice before. He said that there's only one mind. I think he used those words. I'm going to sit with it. There's only one of us here, right? I hear Helen Hamilton saying that too. So he said, oh, I got chills, so this is for me. He said, when your brother is suffering, it behooves you to sit and take the time to understand that. Be with your brother's suffering. Let it fill you. It was sitting here, it was the first time perhaps that I understood Pema Chodron's teachings in another way. Because he said it behooves you to just sit and really take the time to listen and be with your brother who is suffering. And then in this recognition that there's only one mind, there's only one of us, hold that suffering and compassion and let it I don't know what he said now, but this is how the merging of what he said and shared and where I am right now. So he said, there's no use in ignoring the world suffering. You don't ignore it and you don't believe it, right? That's where we are now. So take the time to get to know it, to be with it, to know that if your brother's suffering is in your world, then it's in your mind and it's in your universe. So if you allow yourself to feel it, to touch it, to experience it, and then you remember this teaching, right? Only love is real. We never left our source. And so it's even the guides are filling me, right? We hold responsibility for our agreement, for our contribution to the world that we see. And from that space, we remember that only the truth is true. So we hold the higher consciousness that only the truth is true. And in that expanded space, we allow whatever is knocking on our door to show up. And we allow ourselves to be with it. We don't ignore it and we don't justify it. It's arising. It's a belief in illusion. But if the belief is showing up anywhere in our universe, then it's in me. And somewhere, from the guide's perspective, when I take responsibility for the fact that I've been in agreement to it, at that point, the love which we are can transform it. But not if we close the door to it. Not if we say, we don't have to look at it because it's not real. We say, look at this belief in the illusion. Look at how it's playing out. And since I'm seeing it, I've been contributing to it. There's a misperception in Cindy's universe. And I'm going to allow the full expression of that while I hold, for me right now, this visual of that scared mouse attempting to conquer the universe. Fear can't win. Fear is the absence of love, right? It doesn't have any real power except when we suppress it and say, nope, I'm turning my back to it. It continues to play. And so from this expanded place of yes, 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 include, anything that seems to state there's a power other than God, the divine, the universal force, well, it's the denial of God. It's believing that there is a power, i.e. fear, that can win over God or give God a run for this money. And again, I like the word God. You could use universe, you could use love, you could use whatever you want. Somehow God and love, it's what I use. And just recognize that fear is a misperception, but it's playing out. And so look at it. Look at it. Michael Singer taught me a while back that if I want to heal, expand, I got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Fear, the greatest fear is the fear of experiencing fear. So damn it, if it's here, if it's hiding anywhere in my space, let it come out now. There's nothing here I will defend that will limit the expression of the miracle in Cindy today. That's this teaching for me, anyway. I am making a stand and choosing to no longer defend lack, limitation, fear, less than, a world that has to be protected, etc., etc., etc. God is, and then you cease to speak. So, Andrew, good to be here with you.
Thank you, Cindy. It's good to be with you all. I love you all and happy to be here. Your advice was just perfect. It couldn't be improved on. And it reminds me of somewhere in the course, it says something to the effect that ignoring the world that you see is an unworthy form of denial. We have to get out of this existence, but we can't deny that we're in it while we're in it, even though it's a dream. This section is about reason. And what does reason tell us? It tells us there's no justification for fear, no need for defenses, nothing to oppose, because there's only one of us. But it also says in this chapter somewhere, not this particular section, that reason and the ego are opposites. So Andrew cannot see reason while I believe that I'm Andrew. That's what makes this course, which is very simple. I mean, the explanation for the course that is very simple, but it isn't easy. The practice of the course takes consistency, takes consistent use to really sink in and be effective. I guess that's all I really can add. Your description of things was very good, and I loved it.
I'm glad you found it of value, for sure. Who's next? All right, Chuck, how did what you read fit with what we shared? Like, you read a different section, right? In prep?
Yeah, I read, with my mistake, I read chapter 21, I think.
Yeah. But just in general, without assuming it wasn't a mistake, what did you learn from that chapter that either fits in or
I
adds
didn't
to?
get them. I'm trying to find what it was kind of landing for me, but I forget what it was that I read now. I didn't read the whole thing. I just read the first part.
It's okay. If it comes to you, let us know, all right?
It said what reason, it was what reason tells you was the main.
So
Yeah.
pretty much Andrew
Yeah,
said at another part,
it all fit right in.
that's so maybe it was chapter 21, section 6, Andrew, and not somewhere in chapter 22, because the title of the section that Chuck, I'm gonna take a look at that after, what reason tells you. Very interesting.
Reason cannot see sin, but can see errors and leads to correction.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, Sandra.
I really like this section, and my eyes fell upon the one right before it, Beyond the Veil, and started reading that as well. And it just had me thinking and being at first a little confused, but let me just say that I really love that question, how does one overcome illusions? And what came to mind was, what is an illusion? What actually, I mean, we use that word a lot. And sometimes when I'm listening to teachers, I think, oh, I think of it differently. But anyway, I'll just put it out there, and I really would love to hear what other people think about this question in my mind. And it is, to me, as I read the course, I've read it twice now, and now I'm reading it with all of you. I always thought the illusion was, it wasn't that I'm not here, I exist. It's not like all of this is just an illusion and none of it's here. It's here. The illusion was how I see it, how I perceive it. That's how I took illusion. And the dream, when we say this is just a dream world, the dream is how I see it. And when I awaken to the truth of what is here and what I'm experiencing, I see it completely differently. So that's what the course, that's what I've felt the course means. And they talk about beyond the veil, like in Beyond the Veil, it says, let the veil be lifted, raise it together, for it is but a veil that stands between you. And then it goes on to say, we don't realize how thin the drapery is, you know, with this veil. So for me now, I walk around and I know me is just us, but for this individuated manifestation, whatever it is, I see everything differently than I saw it before. I experience everything differently. I am not what I was before. I feel like I'm awake to the truth. I say I feel like that because I also know that I don't know anything and I could be getting it all wrong. So sometimes when I hear teachers say, none of this is real, it's just a dream, I think, the dream part was the part when I didn't know, but I know I'm real. I know, the one thing I know that I heard from Francis Lucille is I exist. I exist. And the other people around me exist. I don't think it's a dream that people are here. I think the dream is not knowing the truth of being, of what we truly are. So that's what I've been thinking about as I read this. It says reality opposes nothing. There's no, only illusions need defense. And yeah, it's so true. It's weakness to think you need defense. You don't need defense when your eyes are open to the truth of who you are, which is nothing can hurt me at all. So I don't know if you understand my question. Maybe you do because Andrew has his hand raised. But my question, it rises every time I hear someone say or hear that this isn't real anyway. Like, that to me is like, it goes against what you just said. When people are suffering, they're suffering. And we're there with them because we know in truth they can't be hurt. We can hold that space for them and we can love them. But we don't say, it's not real anyway.
What I heard Sri M say, that's coming up again, is he said when you hold someone who's suffering, what you come to recognize, or what he was teaching, was that they have a story that seems to be attached to fear. Now, their story is different than your story, but when you really sit with this, fear is fear, anger is anger, sadness is sadness, and the fear and the anger and the sadness is in the one mind. And you can hold it in the expanded consciousness and transform the fear. It's the fear that's real. The anger, is a real experience. The fear is the experience. The sadness is the experience. The story is the veil that seems to separate.
Yeah.
It says
Yeah.
that I'm different than you. My sadness is different than yours. If you only knew what I've been through. But the thing is, the sadness, the fear, the anger, the intensity, it's happening in the one mind.
I fully relate to that and feel that. The part that keeps coming up is when and maybe I'm hearing it wrong. That could be what's happening. I'm hearing it wrong. But that when we awake to the truth of what's really going, what is really here, it really is so joyful and peaceful. Are we saying that's still the dream? And we're only out of the dream once the body's gone? I don't think so. So help me, my friends.
Well, we'll see your questions aren't current, like those aren't the questions I have here right now. Like,
Oh, sorry.
no. There's no reason to be sorry. I'm looking forward to seeing what Andrew has and Richard has. For me, when I'm just fully immersed in whatever's going on, I'm not questioning whether it's a dream or reality. I'm just fully present with what's going on. And
Yeah, I do that too. And many times I can just let that go, that question go. But it really came through as I was reading these two sections because I was reading them in one way, which made perfect sense to me. And then these other ways I've heard it interpreted are different. So that's what I'm asking.
Right. So did you hear it interpreted different in this space today?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, no, I'm thinking, no. I was thinking about this before we even got on.
Yeah.
So that's.
Let's see what Andrew says. Huh?
Sure. It's a great question, Sandra. What is the illusion? Well, I think the Course tells us that all of perception is an illusion. Knowledge is our true state of oneness with God, oneness with all there is. Anything else is the illusion. Even miracles, it says, are illusions because there are changes in perception. All of perception is part of the illusion, is the illusion. Yeah. Death of the body doesn't mean we escape the illusion. I think our ego or part of the ego goes into another realm, but it comes back again. I mean, it says we have many different bodies. We come back and it's like reincarnation. Although the Course says technically reincarnation is wrong because there is no death. It's one continuous life, but we take different roles. We're all playing a different role. Maybe in another life, you're Andrew and I'm Sandra. You never know. But anyway, that's my answer to the question. And yes, what you said earlier, I was going to mention, you said only the illusion needs defense. And that's very, very true. Reality needs no defense. Reality just exists in peace and stillness. Maybe that's why we chose to leave at some point, just for something different. But, you know, to scare ourselves. It's like a thrill ride. We're on a thrill ride at an amusement park. But this is the thrill ride, this life in the world. Anyway, that's my take on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew.
While Andrew was sharing it, it came to me that, all definitions are really just temporary. And is it useful for me now? And perhaps one working definition might just be an illusion is anything that needs defending. And if I feel like I'm about to defend my position or defend my family or whatever, I can know that I'm placing energy in a place that isn't useful and just look for that.
That really helps. Both of your answers really helped me, because when I'm in complete joy and I don't feel like I'm in an illusion. I just see things as beautiful. But like I said, I don't want to take up all the time on my questions.
Your question is everybody's. I'm doing my Helena Hamilton impersonation.
Oh,
Your question is the question in the one mind, so it's not. Yeah. Let's see what Richard has to say. I'm so glad, Richard. Did you know that you are loved?
Love is all. Thanks for that. I've been wrapping my head around this question for a long time, and what I've come to believe, Richard believe, that there were 4 splits in the mind. One of the first splits was a tiny mad idea. Then the mind chose the ego over the Holy Spirit, and then from there were the 4th split came down to, in the mind there was innocent me and guilty me, and the guilty me was the one that agreed to separate. They were separate from God. And so what the mind did was project, the one mind projected the sin, fear, and guilt thought out of the mind in order to be innocent self in the dream. And when it did that, that's when the Big Bang happened. That's when the world was made. Now, the world that projected out was made of billions of holographic images of the one self. We represent one of the billion images of the one self. But each of us have a unique individual experience of being in the dream. We're all conditioned differently. So we may manifest as a human being, may manifest as an extraterrestrial, may manifest as a plant, as a fish, as a bird, whatever. So it's all an expression of the one mind, divine one mind. So I started there. And when I came to the realization that the first paragraph we talked about happened, I realized I'm a lucid dreamer within the dream. I will waken up to my real self, but I'm still a figure in the dream. I don't exist. The dream doesn't exist. And the reason that doesn't exist is because the dream is over. It was over long ago. We believe we travel once again, believing it to be true. So all of this has helped me be comfortable with being a non-existent being within a dream. I gave up the fear of death because of that. And I look forward to when not physical existence. And the other thing I'd like to add is we're all existing in the current moment in many dimensions. We are all physically in this room, in this meeting. We're all manifesting as solid human beings in a body with a mind that's separate from each other. We're also at the same moment beings of light. Now, we're not perceiving ourselves as being of light. We're perceiving ourselves as bodies, these thick, dense bodies, and all these forms within the dream are all part of the dream. So right now, we all have chosen to experience this level of the dream, to experience being in these physical bodies, having this physical experience, although it's illusory. So we're all dealing with it, waking up, we all know who we are in truth. What we have trouble understanding, what the WTF? How can I be one with God and be in this body at the same time? It doesn't make any sense. Well, because we have finite minds that can never understand the infinite. We are only pure energy in reality. We call that love, God, awareness, consciousness, whatever. But I think that's it.
Thank you, Richard. Hey, Chuck. There you go.
There I go. I just checking in where I'm at and where I was early in the course where you started, Cindy, about honoring your brothers in distress and that, and where Sandra was kind of talking about. I remember I was struggling with a lot of that early on, and I got it. I came across Ken Wapnick in a number of ways, and he was always kind of helping me with stuff like that. And I remember hearing him say, "Don't be a bliss ninny." He said, your house burns down, you lose a child in the fire, and people ask, "How are you doing?" "I'm just hunky dory, it's not real." He would say, "No, you be with them, like you were saying, be with your brother," and then apply the thinking that Richard just kind of laid out. Kind of, we get to the course and the understanding from that perspective. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that "don't be a bliss ninny" was kind of important for me to hear early on. I passed.
Thank you. Hey, Rana, did you see who left the bedroom? Can you see over my shoulder?
Oh, he's with us. Isn't that interesting? Hi, everyone. Grateful to be here today. I love this group so much. I love my life. I love things that I used to call coincidences. Jules, we were just talking about all this right this morning. And I said to her, I said, this is where our intellect is no longer an asset, And then we come here and everybody's explaining what illusion is. And then Richard tells us his deal. And I mean, I could listen to you, Richard, for 2 hours. I really could. You make so much of this accessible to me. And then you wrap it all up with WTF. I mean, how could I not just love the explanation? And what I've come to understand in this journey for me is that I'll know it when it happens. I'll know it when consciousness, which I'm just an aspect of, knows itself through this vehicle. We were talking about headsets this morning. I was telling Julie about the headset thing. I got this virtual reality headset, conditioning, programming, asleep. right? But now I know the truth. And that can be stepped out of. I don't have to live in suffering and see suffering and worry myself sick all the time about the future. And I mean, it's just such a great life now. And sometimes I do the bliss ninny thing, Chuck. I'll admit to that. Sometimes I say to myself, this is really tough right now. Just remember, it's not real, you know. But that's also not dismissing it either. What it does for me is give me the level of certainty that I am safe and protected. You know, that beyond what I think is going on, which is going on, but beyond the fear, beyond the limitation is what I'm not seeing. I really liked in here, in truth, you stand together with nothing in between. God holds your hands, and what can separate whom he has joined as one from him? It's impossible to keep love out. But I had to hear that and consider it and then try it out for myself, right, with direct experience, and come to know that that's true. And I mean, I still doubt it with the circumstances sometimes that occur in this one's world. You know, there is doubt. But what love rests in certainty. And there's just that pointing again and again. God rests with you in quiet. If I'm disturbed, it's because I see something that's coming through the filter of perception. And I have help to correct that. For real help. And it's not a person. I mean, I've got a ton of people. I can call Cindy, I can call Sandra, Amy, you know, any of you guys when I'm like a little bit whatever, but you point me back to truth. Remember the truth. The truth is I'm having an experience. Okay, now, what is felt about that experience? And it takes away that urgency and the panic and the, you know, and it brings me back to a place that I know that the answer is going to come to all of it. I'm certain. I'm certain now, you know. But thank goodness we're not all doubtful on the same day. We can lean into each other and experience the truth. That's what I love about the gathering of this group. I feel like I'm amongst, you know, very powerful oneness here to reminders over and over. So that's all I have right now. I thought it was hysterical. There was a reference to a mouse in here. I mean, again, there are no coincidences, right? It's beautiful. Thank you.
All right, quick, Richard, because it's here and it's useful. I don't know if everybody can notice that there's a frog on my table. So here he is. Here he is. So let's make fun of habits. That's why Rana knows that this is not a little thing. This is a big thing, right? The dream character, whatever you want to call it, has certain ways that they behave every day to feel okay. If you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and take a look. One of the things that Cindy does, even before she pees in the morning, is she makes her bed. I get up, I make the bed. It's a smaller, this is the logic. It's a small apartment. The door, I keep all the doors open. I keep windows open. It's, you walk to the bathroom or whatever in the morning, you want to see your bed made. There's these pillows, and then there's another pillow that says be still and know, and then there's two stuffed animals. It hit that if this frog and the other animal weren't placed just right, there was a disturbance. So what do you do when there's a disturbance? There's two choices. One, you make sure the frog is placed just right, or you start laughing at the disturbance. Took me a little while, but I decided to start laughing at the disturbance. You think it's Richard? I love making Richard laugh, right? Literally, it began by just like switching which side the frog was on and which side the squishy I got from my daughter was on. Like you switch them, they're not in the same place. The inside starts to shake a little bit. And then, but I was like, oh, I lived through that. I survived it. So then a couple of days ago, the frog told me it didn't need pillow support. So all of a sudden the frog is sitting at the end of the bed instead of against a pillow. And oh my God, every time I walked by for a while, and then I just start laughing. And then yesterday, the frog was like, I don't need to be on the bed. And it was on the top of the bookshelf. It spent the whole day on top of the bookshelf. And today it left the bedroom. And I'm realizing I'm no longer disturbed. You know, it was they talk about grooves in the brain. Like, so there are grooves like a record player in the brain that says, this is the way Cindy's life goes. And when you step out of it for a hiccup, for a second, it gets real uncomfortable. But then that groove goes away. So now this frog could be wherever the frog wants to be. It doesn't need to be looking. It needed to be looking in a certain direction. Anyway, that's why the frog is now sitting on the table. And who knows where it'll be 5 minutes from now, but it no longer needs to be in a certain place so that Cindy's not disturbed. All right, Richard, did you like that story?
I love that story. I love laughing at Richard. Being a lucid dreamer now within the dream, I love to laugh at Richard when he pulls things like that. And that's, for me, that's expression of joy. It's how I feel joyful about the illusion. So one thing I wanted to add, I meant to start the my last share with a quote from the FIP version of the course. And the introduction, it says, this course can therefore be summed up very simply this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. So herein lies the peace of God. And what I understand that to mean is, if there's anything in your life or in your dream that can be threatened, it's not real. The dream is not real. So that helped me wrap my head around the idea that I don't exist in reality. Love us all.
Is that line not in the purple edition?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not sure. But I grew up with the FIP version, so I have all the books. I have the purple and the blue, but
Yes, of course it's in the purple edition. It's the very and the introduction, like it is in every edition.
Yeah, I thought it was an integral part of the course. That's
Yes,
what you said in the
I didn't
FIP.
bother to check. I just thought Robert probably mulled it out because he wasn't sure it was from Jesus.
Oh,
So.
got it. Hey, Oddsy. Oddsy's in the house.
Hi. Hello. Well, it was so interesting, Cindy, when you
Three
mentioned
M. Yeah.
Thanks. I just happened to watch a video of him the other day, 2 or 3 days ago, and he said 2 things I want to share because they were just very helpful for me. He said ego simply means there's an I. Ego is just meaning that there's an I here present. That's what ego is. Easy enough. And the other thing was his comparison of the Father and the Son. He used consciousness would be the Father, and the souls would be the Son.
Yeah.
So that was really helpful for me. And he was really, really quite the neat. I've never heard him before, so it was very cool to hear him being interviewed, and then you mentioning him, and it
Well,
was
he's
helpful for.
set up for us to discuss on Thursday. So if you want to come,
Oh,
like if you go to
cool.
Finding Truth Everywhere, that section of there are links to the podcast we discuss every Thursday. And I've told people here
Oh,
before Thursday we're talking about this Soul Boom interview with Sri.
oh, maybe that's why I got it or
That's where you
something, but I
found
just
it.
happened to,
If
yeah,
you opened my email on
it
Saturday,
must be.
click the link, it was right there.
Well, it was helpful for like the intro to ACIM too. I just found it was just really bang on to everything. I actually emailed them. I went to their website and I emailed them and they've responded. So I'll let you know if anything happens because it's kind of fun to just
I was-
surprise yourself doing things. And it's like, huh, wonder what's going to happen now.
He was so enjoyable to listen to. I'm going to listen to him again at least once more this week.
Yeah,
And-
so
and I
thank
will
you
visit
for
it
that.
because he was very funny about the website. He couldn't even remember what it was, but they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
this, they have all these service projects. Well, part of the teaching was that, service makes you happy. Money
Mhm.
does not. Service,
Yeah.
service, this selfless kind of service. And one of their projects is, Amy and I were talking about it. I don't remember when now, is that they're planting trees. He just knows that
Yeah.
without trees, there is no planet. And so they have this initiative called My Tree, where they're making individuals responsible for these trees. And they plant
Well, I love
thousands-
that he said it
thousands
wasn't
of trees.
just about planting the tree.
It was
It's
about
to
loving and
continue to
caring and
caring for it.
yeah.
It's my tree,
My
not
tree.
just, oh, donate for a tree and you never think about it again.
No,
I love that. It's not a plant a tree. It's my
my
tree.
tree.
So I love you.
I love it.
And trees are all connected underground, guys. All their branches and stuff. It's a big, oh, must be amazing.
We'll talk about it more on Thursday, but even he did I think it was in this podcast where there was just this beautiful conversation about the difference between the brain or the mind and consciousness, because he said trees don't have a brain, but every aspect of them is conscious. Yeah. The Dingo!
Hi everyone. It's so great to be here. I just love so much being here with all of you. It's just honestly it's just the best thing ever. And just knowing this love that we are, it's just such a gift. That's just what I will say. And what's amazing is my back is just really, it's really hurting or having problems or whatever. But that's not what I am. And so I know what I am. I know that I am one with my Father. I know that everything is one. I know that we are all love. And I know that everything is perfect here for me. And I can rest in that. I can rest in this love and know this love. And that's just such a gift. So, and I just love being here with with all of you. And I love all of it. I love every part of it because it's all here for me. Everything is here for me. And everything is a blessing. And I don't need to understand it. I know it's here for me. So I love all of you. Thank you.
Love you, Nadia. Hey, Julie M.
I can never get my thing to unmute. It's so hard. Good morning. So happy to be, well, it's afternoon now. So happy to be with all of you. I just want to comment, ask you, yesterday was just very beautiful, very, a beautiful Sunday. I mean, that last meeting, I just felt my heart my whole body was just so full of joy, love, that I was wondering if you and like Amy and Rana, when you think this might be an ongoing thing, because I thought it was just very powerful. And I would definitely be very interested in attending something like this. If it would be maybe once a month is too much, but it just was, whoo, it was awesome. So I just want to say thank you for it. And it just made my Sunday a great day, even better day.
I expect it'll happen again.
Okay. It was awesome.
And thank you for your kind words. I kind of enjoyed myself too.
I was actually thinking we could do something around Christmas just to celebrate Christmas together in some way. And it doesn't have to be 4 hours. It could be 2 hours or, but I haven't really given it much more thought than that, but thank you for that, Julie. I think you're on target there.
Those 4 hours went faster than I could, like, it was blink of an eye. And so, here's what I want to say, Julie, is that none of what really is happening at an open door is something that the egoic part of the mind is investing a lot of effort. It's not an efforting thing. It's a willingness to see what arises next. Does that make sense? So I'm more than willing to take the door off its hinges, so no one has to worry about it staying open, and maybe even begin to remove the walls that once held the door in place, let all of it come down. But it's coming down in the way it's gonna come down. What's happening here for me is a big yes. Yesterday was extraordinary in a way that it might take us years to understand. But that's what it felt like at the end of it, just this glorious yes. Yeah. We meet again, and I noticed that Michelle was there. She was very quiet yesterday. With this new computer, I haven't figured out how to get 50 squares on my screen yet. That's on my list of things to fix. So Michelle was mostly on the second page. But we do meet again, for those that can, in 2.5 hours. It's a channeling that the guides did on Friday. And there is an assignment in the channeling, and I'm trying to read. It's something about taking one of these difficult relationships or something and taking it through a practice that the guides were, or a willingness to surrender, something like that. I'm looking forward to being with it and with all of you, or whoever can come back at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I do, and I am going to figure out what we're doing. The only part of yesterday that got recorded was the hour that we spent with Amy, and we'll do something with it in the next couple days. I don't see exactly what yet. That's all I got.